Hello everyone. Welcome to Confessions Jury, where people put themselves on the spot, waiting for your judgment. Sit comfortably and listen carefully, as you're about to hear today's cases. You hold the hammer and you apply the law. Let us have your verdict down in the comments section. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Let's head on to our first case. Case 1. My husband was kissed by his best friend, and now I feel numb. For some background, my husband and I are high school sweethearts. We started dating at 16, graduated together, moved to college together, started living together our sophomore year of undergrad, lived together ever since. Got married 2 years ago. He had dropped out of our college at the end of sophomore year. I didn't know it at the time. He hid it from me so well, but he was struggling with his mental health and the discipline required to succeed in college. On the other hand, I did well in college and landed a spot at a grad program several states away. I was honestly surprised when he decided to drop everything and move away with me 3 years ago. He is very in tune with his emotions and has made it clear that family is his biggest priority. I didn't think he would uproot his life and move so far from his family for me, but he did, and of that. I really knew he loved me and that we were each other's person. When we moved away, he decided he wanted to go back to school. He attended a local uni close to my grad school and easily made a reputation for himself as one of the best and brightest in his field in the area. He was busy with school and work and all of the responsibilities he took on. I was busy with my school as well. We got married the summer after we moved away. I always knew I would marry him. He is the gentlest and more considerate person I've ever met. While our relationship has been tested, we've always been so understanding and compatible that we've always come out stronger. He is such a kind and likable guy. He made friends so easily, one of which is a 25F who will call May, which he made his second year back at uni. She is in all of his classes. They do the same extracurriculars and even have the same campus job. They share the same interest, schedule, friend group, everything. We've hung out as a group of 3 several times. She's watched our dogs. Her and I text each other on our own accord. As I've gotten to know her and learned her relationship history, I knew that she was very impulsive and didn't always have the best judgment when it came to her emotions. But I never felt outright threatened by her. My husband has made it clear to everyone he meets that he is married and that he is obsessed with me. I've never felt I couldn't trust him, and while he has many female friends over the years, it has never been an issue. My school requires traveling for some of the final year for those who wish to pursue more competitive careers. Because of this, my husband and I made the hard decision to leave our apartment, move me and most of our stuff back in with my parents so that we don't have to pay rent, while I travel for school and he finishes his degree and lives in a dorm at the uni several states away from our families. It was a hard decision to make, but he has made countless sacrifices for me to pursue my career. I felt that he deserved a year to dedicate to his passion and focus on what he loves and get his degree. We discussed how we would do long distance, how we would FT every night, see each other in person as often as we can. We would communicate well and be good about letting the other know when we'd be unavailable. We had been doing long distance for 2 months before the incident happened. He has been taking the distance pretty hard. Again, he is a very family-oriented person, and he is alone without his family this year. So he has been leaning on his friends for support, especially May, since they do everything together. Most days they get food between classes together, ride together to their meetings and events, run errands together, etc. I would be lying if I said it didn't make me slightly uncomfortable at times. However, like I had mentioned earlier, we had all hung out together before. I saw how they acted and how my husband distanced himself from her. I truly felt like these feelings were unjustified, just a hint of jealousy, and that I had nothing to worry about. Boy, was I fucking wrong. For some additional background, he and I have always struggled prioritizing each other in our marriage, and honestly most of our relationship. We're young and broke, and now our lives are so busy. We've never gone on trips away together. Didn't even RLY have a honeymoon. We just always had so much going on. We could never prioritize romance between the two of us. But we found ways, like little dates here and there. The main thing that comes to mind is our dinner dates, especially when Olive Garden starts running their all-you-can-eat pasta. We will have weekly date nights when that rolls around. So when he told me that he and May went for all-you-can-eat pasta at OG a few weeks ago, I was met with that uncomfortable feeling again. I got upset with him. I told him that it's not okay that he basically had one of our date nights with her. He understood and said it wouldn't happen again, and it didn't. However, I didn't let it slide that easily. When he would talk ABT doing stuff and mention that he did it with May, I would occasionally make snide remarks ABT, always being with May. Mainly to joke and act like a bitch, but I'd be lying if I said there wasn't some truth to the statement. At times, I felt like she was a surrogate partner for him while I was gone, but I told myself that he just needed a support system RN, and that she was just being a good friend. So then this weekend rolls around. Friday, he and I are talking on the phone in the evening, and I tell him how I want him to FT me, so he can screen share, and we can watch TikToks together, without limited time together on our FT dates. This has been one of the things I look forward to the most. But he dismissed me, saying he didn't want to go to his dorm and run into his roommates, and also that he is texting his GC about their plans to go out that night. I got annoyed and huffed at him. He asked if I didn't want him to go. I told him he could go, but was more upset that he dismissed my wishes to spend more time with him, and that he was instead planning to go out with his friends. Long story short, we get upset with each other. It's a dumb fight, but we were both angry with each other for a while, and I cried more than I think I should have. We both resolved the issue, agreeing that we are just emotionally very label RNBC of the stress of the long distance and the fact that it's been our longest stretch apart. But I couldn't shake the feeling of unhappiness and ended up crying myself to sleep while he went out drinking with his friends. I woke up the next morning and found SMTH to occupy myself with before I had an inclination to check his location to see where he'd gone last night. He had been to several bars, gotten fast food, and then was all over the town until 4 a.m. I texted him, asking him what all he'd done last night. He said he went to one bar, got fast food, then went home. I told him Life 360 said otherwise, but he brushed it off as the app messing up. Again, I had the utmost trust for this man, so I believed him. I spent the rest of the day with a strange feeling in my head, like a headache mixed with being on the verge of tears all day. I pushed through and did what I needed to that day, but I guess you could call it a woman's intuition. He called me in the middle of the afternoon and told me May kissed me last night. I froze. He started crying, saying he felt like he'd just been hit by a train and he felt so dirty. I just couldn't speak. He told me that he apparently got blackout drunk and May drove him home. He gets real affectionate when he's drunk and apparently started telling May how grateful he was for their friendship. She misread the situation and kissed him. He said that he didn't kiss her back and just left the situation and went to his dorm and fell asleep. He couldn't remember any of it happening. He only knew BC ran into May yesterday and she told him what happened. He said he called me immediately after he found out. I didn't know what to say. My heart was pounding in my chest. I couldn't do anything, say anything. I just told him I needed to process this alone. Hung up on him and called my best friend. She was everything I needed in that moment. I cried to her on the phone. She talked me through how I was feeling. She talked me off a ledge. She helped me see the positives in the situation. She helped me come up with a plan of action. I am so grateful for her. BC, not only am I doing long distance, but I am living in a new place every month. I am all alone in new cities I've never been, living with strangers and without friends or family. I have felt so incredibly isolated lately, and going through this heartbreak all by myself has been brutal. But she did her very best to be there for me and help me approach the situation with a level head. So for that reason, I am very grateful for her. I decided to text May and ask for every last detail. She apologized profusely and told me the exact same story. He had drank too much. They went to get food, and she drove them around while they talked. She dropped him off, and he got sappy like he does when he's drunk, and told her how great of a friend she's been. She misread the situation, tried to kiss him. He didn't reciprocate, and left immediately. She says she didn't realize how drunk he was until he couldn't remember anything the next morning. She said she debated just not telling anyone and pretending it didn't happen, but she felt that it wasn't fair to either me or him if she did. She offered a set of boundaries between them and apologized again. At this point, I trusted that she made a genuine mistake and that she truly felt remorse for what had happened. I don't think she intentionally was trying to make advances at my husband, but I know how he gets when he's drunk, and I know how his kindness and friendliness probably has led her on. But I needed to say my piece. I needed to set my boundaries. I told her that I was incredibly upset and disgusted by the situation. I found it extremely disrespectful that she had texted me on Wednesday, checking on how I was doing. BC, she knew the distance was hard for the both of us, but then kissed my husband on Friday. I told her that she does not hold all the blame and that my husband should know better than to put himself in these situations. But I told her that as a fellow woman and as my friend, she should never put herself in an intimate setting with another woman's husband. However, I acknowledged that she did a very mature thing by telling him what happened. She could have kept this to herself and avoided all this mess, but she chose to be mature and let us know what happened, and for that I am thankful. But I essentially told her that I would be setting the boundaries and that I am no longer comfortable with them being friends. I told her that she is only to speak to him if absolutely necessary at work or in meetings, but they will no longer be hanging out one-on-one or in group setting. No longer going for meals together, going out together, nothing. I may have been harsh in the delivery. I'm not too sure, but I knew that I needed to set my foot down. I knew that if I let a shred of weakness peek through, SMTH like this could happen again. I called my husband later last night, told him that I had processed things and that I needed to share my thoughts and my conditions moving forward. For some additional background, I have been cheated on before, and I made it extremely clear that I would not stand for that again when we began dating. However, this situation was different. I told him how I knew something was off for a while, but I especially felt off when he told me he was going out Friday night, and how he had made me feel bad for being uncomfortable with him going out. I told him that my intuition had been spot on all my life, and shame on him for making me feel bad for knowing in my gut that SMTH was wrong that night. I told him that he, as a faithfully married partner, should never be putting himself in these situations. He should never be going on dinner dates with someone else. He should never be getting blackout drunk and being alone with someone. He should be more cognizant of how he acts toward others and recognize that he had been leading me on for quite some time now. Despite how this had broken my trust and broken my heart, I could also recognize the positives in the situation. He doesn't have feelings for May. He didn't initiate this kiss, nor did he kiss her back. He left the situation immediately, and he told me as soon as he found out it happened. He was extremely remorseful when he told me and cried to me while I sat in shock. While he should have never, ever put himself in this position, his response speaks for his character. I gave him strict boundaries moving forward. I told him the conditions I gave May. They are to be no contact unless for logistical reasons. I told him that he cannot be in intimate settings with anyone of the opposite sex anymore. I told him that he cannot get blackout drunk without me anymore. I told him he will need to tell me every detail of when he goes out, as he goes out. I told him that if he even for a second feels a hint of an attraction or emotional connection with anyone, ever, that he needs to tell me immediately, and I will do the same for him. I told him that he needs to start therapy again. BC, he has past traumas that he has struggled to work through. I knew that he had been depressed the past few months, and now, with this fight and losing his friend, he was going to be hurting for a while. And also, he had been taken advantage of while he was vulnerable. As some who had dealt with SA in the past, I don't want him to struggle with the trauma of feeling taken advantage of and feeling unclean. Although this situation may not be considered SA to some, I knew that he will benefit from revisiting therapy in more ways than one, which is why I made it a condition. I told him that if anything like this happens again, or if he ever breaks my boundaries, I am leaving. I told him that he is going to have to earn his trust back, and he is going to have to graft and grovel to make me feel loved and safe again. Although I was young, I have felt the heartbreak of cheating before, and I have put in the work to repair that heartbreak, and I have learned what I deserve, and I respect myself too much to be the wife in a faithless marriage. He accepted my conditions and cried to me for over an hour. He is in rough shape. He is debating dropping out and going home. He is debating coming to me. He says that he has no support out there now, and he mainly just wants me to comfort and support him. I feel like I need to be alone, to struggle and process all of this alone for a while. I honestly sacrificed my peace by staying on the phone with him and talking things through with him for as long as I did last night. I can't help but feel bad for both of them, From ABC, I know she has been struggling with her own demons lately, and that sending such a stern text and telling her she can no longer be friends with my husband may have been too harsh. I wonder how this will affect her mental health, and I just hope that what I said wasn't too much. But I feel that they both need to face the consequences of their actions. I feel bad for my husband BC. He was already going through such a tough time, and now he is going to be going through an even harder time. I am worried for his mental health. He said this is the lowest he's ever felt in his life. Even despite some of the other significant life events he's struggled through, it will take him a while to heal from this, and I can't help but feel like I am responsible. I feel like I should have set clear boundaries earlier. I feel like should I never let them get as close and as comfortable as they are. I feel like I have severed a friendship between them that they honestly both valued and needed in their lives are in. I feel like I'm the villain by being so stern with both of them. I feel unloved, and like a part of me is broken. I never thought this would happen. I never thought that loyalty would be an issue with our long distance. I just feel numb. I feel like shell of a person. I cry intermittently, but I don't even feel sad. Just numb. Is this normal? Why am I not feeling more emotional right now? I know some of you may not see this as that big of a deal, and I will admit that things could be much worse. But I have felt so secure and so certain in my relationship for 9 years, and that all came crashing down yesterday. I guess what I want is to hear some other PPLS thoughts, to know if I handled this situation fairly, or am I the bad person for ending their friendship? Was I too harsh? Why am I so numb to this situation? How do we heal from this? Any advice is appreciated. My apologies for the length of this post. I will honestly be surprised if anyone even takes the time to read it all. At the very least, it was therapeutic writing out our situations and my thoughts. You've sat down. You've listened. Now, it's time to state your ruling. What is it going to be? Let us have it down in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more cases like these. In life, we may run, but we can never hide from true justice. Stay safe, everyone.